All right, all right, all right. Yo, 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 what it do, what it do? It's your boy Yellow the Poet, and today I'm here with Mr. Brandon Steiner. He's big on sports marketing and definitely has been a winner in the game. Definitely a winning game plan, and today we're going to actually talk about that. So welcome to YTP Entertainment, Mr. Brandon Steiner. We are definitely grateful for having you here and looking forward to learning a lot from you. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thanks. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you working like a dog 7 days a week. That stuff makes me that stuff excites me.
Awesome, awesome. I truly thank you.
I'm a 7 day a week dog myself, so you
Yeah.
got to go after it. I like it.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's one thing we can say we got in common, huh? That is awesome. So do you have any new or upcoming projects that you're working on?
I'm always working on stuff. I just finished a team signing with the Michigan Wolverines, who won the NCAA championship. I'm working on a 1994 championship reunion for the New York Rangers. I'm working on a big project with eBay, which I'll announce in the next couple of weeks. So it's all good. I've been busy, working on a couple of travel trips with my wife, try to keep the days full, man. Life is not forever. So I got to make as much as I can.
I totally agree with you, my friend. No doubt about that. No doubt about that at all. So what got you into the sports marketing?
I was in the sports bar business back in 1987, and that was a very unique business at the time. Now there's a TV at every bar, but back then, most restaurants and bars didn't have TVs. As a matter of fact, in 1984, when I first got in the business, there was only two sports bars in the whole country, one in Chicago and the one in Connecticut, Bobby Valentine's, and then the Ultimate in Chicago, called the Ultimate Sports Bar.
Awesome.
So it wasn't like, oh, let's go to a bar and watch the TV. Yeah, and also there weren't that many games on TV. So, I got in the business, through the sports bar business. I was a restaurant guy, and met a lot of athletes because we had the first satellite dish in New York, and we were able to go find games on the bird. And a lot of athletes, sports marketing people came in. I got to meet them.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. And it's interesting that you mentioned Chicago. That's where I'm from, born and raised.
You've been at Ditka's Sports Bar, and the Ultimate was one of the first sports bars in the country, and was a really cool one in Chicago.
Awesome, awesome. I didn't know it was one of the first sports bar. That's definitely good news to know. Something I can add to my stories when I'm talking to my children.
Absolutely.
Because I'm out in Texas.
That and Leon's Ribs, if you've ever been there in Chicago, and Stevie B's Ribs and Leon's that's the shit, man. I mean, Stevie B's went out of business. I think Leon's may still be there, but it had the bulletproof glass. But my wife went to the University of Chicago, so Leon's was in the neighborhood, man. If you can get those ribs, they scarf those down. It was good.
Yes, indeed. That is so true. Well, Leon's is no longer there. Unfortunately, they decided to close the business after the owner passed away.
It was good shit, though, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So
Parsons is good too, but Stevie B's was unbelievable. They closed too, man. That was some real. Those ribs were like, you didn't want to stop eating them. They were just flat off the bone.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Sweet.
So the closest that you're gonna get now to either Stevie B's or Leon's is Kirk's.
Okay.
And John's.
I'll check it out when I'm in Chicago. I'll be in Chicago in July, so I'll check it out.
Awesome. Hey, I tell you, you try John's. Oh my goodness, man. Kirk's and John's, they're both awesome places. The customer service is impeccable. The food is, oh my goodness, it is so amazing. And John's, like you say, falling off the bone, they have these turkey tips, and they are literally they hit their boneless, but oh my goodness, so juicy, so tender, so good. Yes, indeed.
All right, I'll make sure I tell my son because hopefully he'll meet me there and we'll check it out.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I hope you do get a chance to check it out. It is awesome, man. So one of the things that I was looking at in your bio, I'm loving the fact that you're a visionary. Oh my goodness, you gotta be some form of a visionary to be into this in this type of business, especially when you're looking at marketing, entrepreneurship, sports, things of that nature. How far in advance do you actually look to do things when you're getting started on the project?
Well, it's a good point. It's a good way of looking at it. But I mean, I think one of the important things if you want to be ahead in business, obviously you got to think ahead. But you have to just have a high level of common sense.
Mhm.
I think if you want to be a visionary, you want to think ahead, you need to have a high level of common sense. And common sense is really about empathy and compassion. Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. When you start thinking about things through other people's eyes, feeling what they're feeling, think about what they're thinking, it enables you to get an idea of what's going on in the world, not in your world, but in the world. And then
Mhm.
you also combine that with something that you've really worked hard to know a lot about. So you got
Mhm.
to work hard on your craft. You've got to make sure you got all the you got to get all the P's and Q's covered. You got to get the basics. I think sometimes young people don't realize how important the fundamentals are. But when you get the fundamentals going and you add common sense, which is empathy, and you start thinking about how other people are thinking, and then you got the knowledge and a little bit of experience about what you know about. That's how you can start having some vision,
Mhm.
planning ahead, and that's how you really become an entrepreneur. With curiosity, with a little enthusiasm about trying to find out everything there is about what you're doing, and then throw empathy and compassion in there, and that's a formula to become a really good entrepreneur.
Yes, indeed. I totally agree with you on that. I mean, I live that every day. I do. I live, eat, sleep, drink that every day. You gotta have that, the compassion. You gotta have the enthusiasm. You gotta have the know-how, the want to just actually get up and go. You gotta want to do these things. You can't just say I want to do something and then not actually have what it takes to get up and go do it. It's just talk then. There's no sense in
Well,
even.
we say in our office that strategy beats execution for breakfast.
Yes.
Sorry, execution beats strategy for breakfast. Execution is so important, but dreaming is big too. Dreaming and strategizing is important, but you
Mm,
got to execute, and that takes a little discipline, a lot of discipline, and a little bit of focus, and most importantly, an understanding.
yes.
Coming
Yes,
up, coming up
indeed.
with an idea is one thing, and understanding what to implement that dream is what you got to really come to terms with, and that's another way of saying discipline.
Yes, yes, indeed. Discipline is key in any business. I don't care if you're working for someone, if you're an entrepreneur, discipline just within itself is a real key.
Everything.
Yes, indeed. So it's interesting that you mentioned the young people don't understand a lot of things today. And I'm glad that you said that because I just had a podcast right before you, and I'm just speaking with a gentleman. He also does marketing, and he's about, I think he said he's like 70 years old now. And the man looks good for his age, no doubt. He definitely looks good for his age. And I was explaining to him, I said, I actually just interviewed a few people that are actually taking advantage of the opportunities that they have out here in this world because you got so many that are not taking advantage of the opportunities that they have. And with everything being at their feet, with computers, all types of technology, cell phone, things of that nature, it makes it a little bit easier for some of them to get to these things than what we had to go through. We always had to do the footwork. We had to ground ourselves. We had to get out there and hustle and make it actually work. We couldn't, sit there on the cell phone or on a computer and say, hey, this is what I need, this is what I need, and then bam, voila, it's there. We had to get out there and do footwork. So I totally agree with you on that, especially with those young people that don't understand what it means to do that footwork. That's a lot of ground, a lot of territory, and a lot of miles you're putting on their body to make things work.
Well, there's two things. One is the highest level of entrepreneurism in this country is between 55 and 65. Most
Hmm.
people think this with younger kids. The other thing is the number one app on your phone that's least used is the phone. It's a lost art calling people. We probably should have reversed it. I mean, the
Hmm.
gift that we have to be able to talk to one another and communicate with each other verbally
Hmm.
is a tremendous gift that's getting overlooked. The young ones are complicated because they can get so much information so fast, and they are really smart, and they are really able to do a lot of
Hmm.
things a lot faster and quicker and efficient than we can. So I
Yes.
keep a lot of young ones around me, but they do discount experience. They do discount. Um, Not all communication is equal, and there's still a lot of older people in the world that are controlling a lot of the money. Matter of
Hmm.
fact, 70% of the wealth in this country is with people 50 years old and older, not with
Yeah.
the young kids. So if they really want to get some of that money at any time soon, they may want to start using that app on their phone that is not often used. And I'm not against the texting, Instagram. I'm a big social media guy myself, but
Yeah.
I'm a pick up the phone guy. I'm about let's go get some lunch. I'm
Hmm.
about getting on a plane, having to go see somebody, breaking bread. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a combination of everything. There are a lot of people that don't want to see you. They don't want you to come visit. They're okay with this kind of communication, and there are a lot of people that are not. And I think the key is in your basket to have a whole diverse amount of types of communication to be good at all kinds. I think some of the older people discount a lot of different various types of communication. They're just as guilty as the young ones who
Hmm.
don't respect having a lunch, breaking bread, writing a note, that kind of thing. So, I
Yeah.
leave it with people that are listening, like not all communication is equal. Don't
Hmm.
rest and don't rely on just one type of communication because you're comfortable with it. Recognize the people you're dealing with and make sure you're communicating with them the way they need to be communicated with.
Yes, yes, indeed. I totally agree with you 100%. And that's why I keep, just like you, it's something that I learned from an older gentleman, someone that was old, that's older than I am. I'm 52. And I learned from someone that's older than me to always keep some of these young people in your corner because their way of doing things may be different, but at the same time, it can be beneficial. I'm a big social media guy myself. I'm on a whole bunch of different platforms. I spend
Yes.
time as I possibly can on social media, but I also do this type of thing with the podcast. But trust and believe, when it comes to a meet and greet, I'm all for it. It's let's sit down, let's break bread, let's have a cup of coffee. Let's do a breakfast or a brunch or something. Because that interpersonal communication, that's a tool that can never, never go out of style. I don't care what
100%.
anybody you know,
Yep.
that's how we survive. We survive taking every tool that we have and utilizing every single one of them, regardless of what your brand is, regardless of what your status is, your job is. We take these tools and we use them all. We become more and more successful, knowing that these tools are here for us to utilize.
Yeah, I think another thing that gets underestimated, underutilized is that, instead of trying to meet more people and get more likes, it's important to get to know the people that you already know. I would say it's not who you know and it's not what you know. It's what you know about who. And I think that it's really important that if you really want to grow a big base and want to have a foundation of customer fans, whatever, you got to get to know the people that you already know, and you got to get to know them well. You got to take the time. You got to ask the questions because the relationships, if you believe, are really really important. It's the details in the relationships you have with people that matter. And I
Yes,
think sometimes with the young ones, because they got a lot of likes, because they get a lot of conversation going, maybe on an Instagram post or on a
mhm,
Facebook post, they think that that's what is having a conversation and that's what's having a relationship. But
mhm.
the details, again, to really know people, is what's going to take you to the highest level, not only personally but in business.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So another thing that I was intrigued by is that you started the Steiner Sports in 1987, right? It was $4,000 your budget at that time? If so, how did you market that with such a
Well,
small?
it wasn't my budget. It was less the money I had. That was it. And
Okay.
I don't recommend that for people out there to start a company with 4,000. But I think that when you start a business, there's got to be an underlying tone of you got to be a figure it out person.
Mhm.
Now I got this idea, and then you just steamroll. You want to be a freight train, but you got to be on a swivel. You got to be able to change tracks. I mean, the $4,000 was about getting on the phone at that time because there was no internet, and just calling as many people and doing as many meetings. I would meet people day, morning, night, twice on Sunday, all night. I go to 2 or 3 charity events, maybe 4, sometimes even in one night. And I think you can't underestimate the value of meeting people and then getting to know them, especially when you don't have any money to do anything else. So I started at $4,000. Really wasn't sure what I was going to do. The sports business was not as popular as it is now. It really wasn't popular at all. So, but I got going. My wife was supporting me, so that was helpful. Not a lot of pressure to bring a lot of money home, but I wasn't making a lot of money when I started the company, and I was just trying to figure out some different things. At the time, I was doing more PR and consulting for restaurants than I was doing sports, and I gradually built up the business as I started figuring things out.
Mhm. This is awesome. I'm loving the route that you took as far as
I
the
got a
business.
Mac Plus and a printer. That was like $3,600. I think I had 400 left. But it's funny. Steiner Sports was a great company, and I'm not with that company anymore. I sold it, and when I started a new company 4 years ago, I started with the same mindset. Even though I have a lot of money and I've had some success, I always say, you got to wake up broke. And part of the success at Steiner when I was building that was that I always woke up broke. I knew I didn't have an inch to give. My back was against the wall. I know that I had to go make something happen every day to hopefully survive another day. And it's a lot of pressure you put on yourself, but that's the only time that's the best time you perform. So I
Yeah.
think when I started this new company, Collectible Exchange, I took the same mindset, not the easy route, which I could have raised more money. I think sometimes people get confused, raising a lot of money, it's great, but there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. And raising the money is one small smidgen of the deal. Now you got to go make money and you got to pay those people back and you got to give them a return or your reputation is going down the tubes.
Yeah.
So I think, for me, I like financing and putting myself against the wall and putting that pressure on myself
Mhm.
because I think you get the best results and you're forced to figure it out. You're forced to take advantage of every asset and every opportunity as opposed to kind of taking things for granted. I think that, when you think about happiness and growth in a business, I mean, the two things that matter the most is actually its happiness is really resides on the cross section of growth and gratitude. So when you're trying to grow your business, you must have gratitude for every opportunity and all the things that are coming up and around you because a lot of people never get a chance to even open up or try a new business.
Exactly.
And you got to be growing. You got to be learning all the time, trying to figure stuff out. So it's really important that you're growing and you have a high level of gratitude when you're trying to start and grow a business.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I love how you started out everything, and I love the way that you express and tell the story because I have a lot of people who are interested in how to start their business and a lot of different ways that people go through and a lot of things that people go through about starting their businesses. And this is remarkable. I love you really took the time out to think things through rather than just try and rush. And yeah, sometimes.
I tell people all the time. Sorry to interrupt you for just one thing. Is you don't have to have the big idea. It's okay to try something.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be, oh, I've got this huge idea. And then you got expectations. If it doesn't happen, your ego and your confidence crushed. The people around you are like, oh, I'm trying it. If you're trying it, nobody's going to hold you, too accountable. But also, like I would say, dream big, sample small, fail quick. It's okay to dream big, but sample it, try it. And then, sometimes your idea sucks. Sometimes it ain't that good. Move on. There's a million things to try. There's a million things to do. The highway, I mean, the highway to success is so long and so wide. and there's a lot less red lights on there than you think. But when you start getting big investors, you start getting too carried away. Hey, if your idea is that good, sample it.
Yeah.
There, it suits. I can't believe how many people raise a lot of money. They try these ideas and they haven't even sampled it. There's no proof of concept. I'm a big proof of concept person because most of your initial ideas aren't that good.
Mhm. That's true. I totally agree with you on that. No doubt about that. And it makes it hard for the person that's on the other end to actually become more successful because their dreams are bigger than their efforts. And a lot of times they don't know exactly what to do or where to start. But just like you said, sample things. And if you sample a little bit, sometimes that little bit can turn into a lot, and it can also teach you where your good and bad is, your pros and cons. If you're good at something, it'll show. If you're not good at it, it'll show. But rethink your whole plan. If you see there's any room for failure, rethink your whole plan and keep moving. Do not allow yourself to stop. Don't get in your own way, basically.
No question. I think another thing gets in your own way is success. There's the stumbling blocks and there's the failures, and that gets in your way of being able to fight through it because you got too big too fast. But also success sometimes, just because you had a little success, real success is about, coming up with an idea and having that be able to stretch and grow over a long period of time. Anybody can be good for a week or have a good year, but can you have 5 good years, 10 good years, 20 good years? Those are the great ones. And
Mhm.
sometimes I think when people are doing well, they don't realize that they could do even a lot better. And sometimes doing well can get in the way of even doing better. And you got to be careful not to let the success get in the way of you staying hungry, waking up broke, staying curious, not being afraid to, not be afraid to try some new things or take what you're doing already and go further.
Yes, indeed. I totally agree with you on that. Totally agree with you. Can you share a little bit more about um, the purchasing of the Yankee Stadium? I thought that was a pretty interesting journey you went on.
I mean, it wasn't that complicated, actually. It was just lucky because when I did my Yankee Steiner deal back in 2004, there was no
Mhm.
plan to do a new stadium. And I just said, look, if we ever take down the stadium, I'd like to be the one to do it. So that would be a real honor. If you're talking about the Yankees, you're talking about one of the biggest brands in all sports and all business.
Yes.
And I thought that stadium was very meaningful to a lot of people, besides the great moments, besides all the great things that happen in that stadium. And I didn't want to just demolish it. I wanted to save every little piece of it. And I broke that damn thing up into hundreds of thousands of pieces, make sure that every Yankee fan was able to get something from it. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity. It was a labor of love. I didn't make a lot of money doing it, but I do it again. Been known to take down a lot of stadiums. I'm about to take down a couple more. Texas, took down the old Texas Stadium, MetLife, the old Giant Stadium, Madison Square Garden, the Islanders played in there, Nassau Coliseum, that dump. So I've had some fun taking down stadiums and making sure I can savor those experiences that people had in those old stadiums by giving them a piece of the stadium and have
Mhm.
something to remember it by. A lot of people have different views about taking down stadiums, but none really similar to mine.
Okay, that's awesome. So, what makes yours so different? What makes you feel so differently about taking out the stadiums?
It's the respect. It's like, you gotta remember, like, a lot of people invested a lot of time and money to go to
Mhm.
a building to watch their favorite team. And you have to have respect for all aspects of that stadium. Because again, if you can't respect the past, it's hard to move into the future. And I think that when you respect and really close up the past in a respectful manner, enables people to move on to the new building or to the new situation, whatever they're in. And I
Mhm.
think that, what I did with Yankee Stadium was they'll never be done. I mean, I sold over $1 million of grass, not,
Wow.
not thinking, but the grass, I lifted off the field and freeze dried it,
Mhm.
sold about 15, 20,000 of bricks, concrete, the black in the outfield, 20, 30,000 seats, the foul pole,
Mhm.
the speakers, I mean, everything, there was everything, the locker room, the carpet, I turned into doormats and I did so many different things with that stadium, and it was fun. I mean, it was a 4-year project too, and a lot of people don't want to invest 4 years into an old building that they're taking down. But I think of all buildings, certainly Yankee Stadium deserved it.
Yes, yes, I totally agree with you on that. The Yankees were definitely they're a great team, no doubt about that. So you said that building relationships are the cornerstones of your success. What are some of the best relationships you built on your journey?
Well, I think the most important thing, I mean, when you look at my resume, you look at what you know about me. I mean, I've gotten myself into a whole bunch of situations. Started with Mickey Mantle, the Yankees, the Mets, the Rangers, Cowboys, Alabama, Notre Dame. But I think that I just think relationships are everything. And in order to have a relationship, you got to initiate one. You got to start one. You got to know how to start a relationship. And the best way I figure out how to start a relationship is I try to find something that that person needs that I can give a value proposition to. So when I see something that's extremely valuable, most people think about what they can get, and I'm thinking about what I can give. I'm thinking about what value I can provide that situation, that person, that company that they maybe can't do. Value is so underestimated in today's business. It's like people don't realize it, how important value is. Value is what you could do for someone that they can't do for themselves.
Yes.
Value is what you can give someone that they can't get somewhere else. And I think that to me, my mom was always a big, I was like, there's got to be value. I go in a restaurant, I get a swallow 6-ounce thing of Coke, and order a Diet Coke, and I get some 6-ounce glass of it for $3. Like, that's not value.
Right.
And that pisses me off. And it's the little things you do in your business that you can easily show value by understanding the customer and what help they may need and providing it, regardless of whether you're going to get anything out of it. That's a good way to start and initiate a relationship.
I totally agree. Definitely. Oh my goodness. You definitely said a mouthful here. Like, oh my goodness. I really
Well, that's what it's all about. It's relationships and differentiating yourself and value propositions, creating value. I just think, listen, it's not that hard. I mean, when you read my books, you read them and you say, that guy's not that smart. Exactly. I'm not that smart. I mean, it's not that hard, but it also isn't easy. And you got to be steady, and you got to surround yourself with the right people. And a lot of times older people struggle because as much as mentoring as I do with younger ones, I keep some younger ones around me to mentor me. The young ones are smart. There's a lot of stuff they know that I don't. So keeping the right people around you, keeping a nice mix of people so you get different views and perspectives. Again, growth. What's your rate of growth? Be a rose. Rate of self-effectiveness.
Yes.
Rose. What is your rate of growth? And that's everything. And if you want to be happy, lots of gratitude, lots of growth.
That is so true. Oh my goodness. So let me ask you this. Out of all the relationships that you built, which of the relationships would you say are compatible to the relationship that you have with yourself?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, every relationship has its own little path. Obviously, my most important relationship is with my wife, my kids, my family. It's so important that we're all kind of on the same page. I get an opportunity to raise those children, so I hope that we're kind of compatible on some values and the ways of thinking. The athletes are weird, the celebrities are weird, so I never look at them because the pressures, the ups and downs that they're in the middle of, unless you're in the middle of it and really can see it up close, it's hard for people to understand. So I don't expect them. You have these relationships with them. I don't expect them to be like me or understand me or see me. It's complicated, what they go through. And I think anybody who has success, and a lot of it at a young age, or has the highest amount of success and are almost done with it by 30 or 35, I mean, it's an amazing feat, but it's also a lot of stress about what you're now going to do with the rest of your life, because you're probably not going to beat what you just did. So, I handle all the athletes and the relationships I've been grateful enough to have with so many, very individually and uniquely. At the same time, I hope that they see the gratitude that I have, and also the value prop. You know, I haven't built all those relationships with that many athletes and celebrities without providing good value. And I think that's what keeps me in the game.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So you mentioned motivation. What has been one of your biggest motivational pieces, the piece that meant the most to you?
Speeches. I mean, I watch so many speeches. You know, I watch graduation speeches. You know, I speak around the country, and I'm always looking for a quick concept, line, quote, story, and you know, I think, you know, keeping things fresh. But you know, the best advice and the best one-liners and conversations have come from my mom. You know, and her favorite lines are, "Use your head, you don't have to use your feet." And she's a really high level common sense person, and got a lot of advice from her. And then there's a hat maker that was a mentor of mine that taught me how to cook in summer camp, and that's how I learned how to cook and work my way through high school and college in the kitchens. Alsie Jackson, who was a really amazing guy. Black man, no college education, but taught me more than I could have learned in 10 years of college. And most importantly, you know, explained to me a lot of things about life that not everybody's so transparent about. So when you find, you know, I think people are always placed in your life. And when you find those people, you know, you got to take them in and suck it all up, because, you know, I think a lot of times people miss some of the people that have been placed there to, you know, the world's a classroom, everyone's a teacher. And I think that in it, there's some different people that are placed to really give you the guidance and the lanes to go down. And he was one of them. I mean, I don't know where I'd be without him, and certainly my mom as well. So both of them, I got many lectures and stories from both of them.
Awesome, awesome. So besides mom and the gentleman that you just spoke of, who would be, even if it's someone in the past, who would
Yeah.
be the person that you would recommend others to talk to?
Well, I mean, listen, I think when you follow Muhammad Ali, had a 5-year relationship with him and learned a ton from him. I've never met Oprah, but you know, I've followed Oprah her entire career, watched her show for 20 years. I mean, I think following her is a no-brainer. She's one of the most successful people I've ever met, one of the great entrepreneurs of all time. And most importantly, besides the money that she's made and what she's created, her impact on others is amazing. And I always say, you know, make a difference, make an impact. And you know, I don't know what Oprah's like personally, but I think that what she's done and what she's created and the impact she's had on people is insane.
Yes, it is.
And really insane. And you know, I think you got to follow. I'd follow her all day, twice on Sunday. And there's some great leaders. I mean, I follow Gary Vee. He's a friend of mine. He's really smart. If you're into, you know, getting good advice and good direction.
Awesome. Yeah, I've met Muhammad Ali myself. We actually had a sparring match. It was back in 2006 when he came to Chicago. And I was working for this company called Muhammad Ali. It was for board up service, and I was the lead sawman. And he found out that I used to box, and he said, "You got your gloves?" I said, "Yeah, I got my gloves." And I told him, I said, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, but can't nobody punch like me." And he started cracking up laughing. He was laughing so hard.
I love it, man. That is cool. That's awesome.
He said, "I like him. I like him."
That is cool.
That was one of the greatest moments that I ever had with Muhammad Ali. It was actually the only moment I ever had with him, but that was one of the greatest moments out of all the celebrities that I've ever met.
He's amazing. He's a very generous, spiritual, just so many great things about him. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I must admit. So, with your level of marketing, what are some of the key points of marketing that you would show people who don't have any experience?
I think, you know, people overcomplicate marketing. I think, you know, I think one of my keys to marketing is just trying to dig down and get into the truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you watch some of the best commercials, you know, the commercials that are compelling, and also they have some facts, but also they tell the truth. They get down underneath some stuff that sometimes people don't really like talking about.
Mhm.
I'm one of those guys who likes talking about everything, and I'm pretty, cognizant of everything that's going on. So when I'm marketing, I can talk about it because if you add that in back with the empathy again. So you don't have to go crazy on the marketing. You have to go crazy on getting to the truth and I think the brilliance comes in the basics and the obvious stuff.
Mhm.
So sometimes companies overthink it. I think advertising is a crutch anyway. I've always been more of a PR guy. I'm a PR guy. Let people talk about me. I want to give them the things that people are going to talk about. I try to give my customers and tournament the fans.
Yes,
I
yes.
think if you have customers, you want to have fans, and I think you give your fans things because they are fans. You got to give them stuff that they want to talk about you with. And if you think about the companies that do that, the companies are really proud to wear their products, eat their products, use their products. They're companies that have a compelling story. They're companies that are real serious about what it means to wear and use their products.
Mhm.
And I follow that scheme. I want people to feel like wow, I'm a Steiner guy. I love
Yeah,
that guy. This is why.
yeah. That is awesome. That is awesome. So, what are some of the biggest impacts that people have told you that you have on them?
I think I'm relentless. I mean, there's no question. I'm a hardworking guy. I'm relentless. I'm not afraid to outwork you, outthink you. While you're sleeping, I'm working. While you're working, I'm working. And maybe I'm even working a little harder. And then when you're taking a break, I'm still working. I mean, hard work is hard work, but you can't overdo it.
True.
But I really think that people underestimate, the strategy and the thinking part is so important. And I will outthink you. I will keep thinking till I figure it out. And I think when you look at a common denominator of extraordinary people, they're people that are not afraid to jump into a bunch of confusion because they know they're going to outthink it to figure it out, put things in place. And that's
Mhm.
what great leaders do. They figure it out, they put things in place, they fix what's broken, and they figure out what's really going well, and they figure out a way to make it better. By the
Yes.
way, you took that one little piece that I just gave you. That was probably the best 15 seconds. I just thought about it. I was like, I love that 15 seconds. I may go back and listen to that myself, but it's true. I mean,
Awesome.
that's really all of it in a nutshell there. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Trust and believe. I'm going to take everything that you dishing out today, and I'm going to run with it. Yes, indeed. So, what are some of the main points that you look for people to get from your books?
Say it one more time.
What are some of the main points that you look for people to get from your books?
I think it's about, get going, don't wait till tomorrow, especially, for the young ones out there. Like, time is precious. Get going. And, nothing's going to happen quickly. Nothing's going to happen overnight, but who wants it to? It's the process is where I think that one of the main things you get from my books is that, there's nothing like the process, the struggles, the ups, the downs. That's the real enjoyable part. That's the life. And I think in the last book I wrote, I would emphasize a lot more the struggles than I did of the wins and
Okay.
success. And, it's all part of the deal. So I always think, if you want to win, you do need to prepare to struggle and you do need to prepare to fail. That's all part of winning. And, it's all good. Matter of fact, the struggles and the losing sometimes even better.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, what is your perception of how a person should look at themselves as they're going through a struggle? What would be your way of showing them how to get out of that?
I think the most important thing is, ask for help.
Mhm.
When you're struggling, you shouldn't feel like you're alone. I don't think there's any problem that you have that's going to be new to mankind. But don't work in a bubble. Ask for help. It's not it doesn't make any less of you. And sometimes you got to change direction. Sometimes you're in a struggle and it's painful, but sometimes you just got to quit. Quitting is okay. Sometimes you just got to quit. People say, grind through it, keep banging. It's like, something, just no, quit, walk away. It sucks. This is no good.
Yeah.
Sometimes the apple is just rotten. So, I'm a big fan of asking for help, That's why having mentors and people around you that will tell you the truth and give you the guidance. But sometimes, on the same note as quit, no, don't be afraid to quit. Don't be afraid to make a tweak, a change, an adjustment. And the best thing to do is for people that you can trust can give you that advice.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about projects that some people take on early on in their lives or in their career, and they feel like they failed at it, and they come back to it later on, and they feel like they have a better concept of what they need to do? What do you think about those type of people?
I mean, there's definitely some merit to me included. I mean, I think that when you struggle early in life, it does get you more bulletproof ready for the bigger struggles. It's all part of the process. You're not going to avoid. You're not pitching a shutout here. Where you're going to go 100 and 0, no struggles, and 100, right? Everything's rosy dozy. But I think that going through the struggles, not being afraid to go through them and fight through them. But again, don't be SOS. Don't be stuck on stupid. There's
Mhm.
struggling, and then there's like you're falling yourself into a hole, and you find yourself not productive. That's not going to work either. But on the other hand, a lot of that's why keeping good people around you will say, "Hey, I don't know if this is going to work." So,
Yeah.
I think, going through the struggles I went through as a kid made me bulletproof and got me a lot tougher for the long haul. And that's what good parenting is all about, is creating struggles for your kids, not being afraid to let your kids struggle, scrape their knees, fail a little bit, not win everything. Your job as a parent is not to do everything that you didn't get as a kid, but you need to get your kids ready and bulletproof. You need to get your kids ready to get into that tough, hardcore world they're about to get into. That's getting even harder and even more difficult as we speak.
That's true. That is so true. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness. I always tell my children, being a parent doesn't come with the book of instructions. You have to understand that as you're growing, we as parents are growing as well. And that growth never stops.
absolutely.
I tell my children that all the time. So as a parent, what are some of the things that you taught your children as you were growing throughout your life that you didn't get while you were growing up?
I mean, my kids, I raised my kids completely different how I got raised. It's just not possible to raise my kids the way I got raised. So it's just not possible. But listen, be a good person, be a good brother and sister and son and daughter. And do the best you can in school. That's your job. Like, you don't have to be the smartest, but you got to do your best. You got to take it seriously. Be accountable, show up, go to school, learn as much as you can. And I think those are the 3 rules I have for my kids. I don't really give a hoot about the other stuff. Um, but I think that sometimes parents get into a lot more squabbles and arguments than they need to. Be a good person, be
Yeah.
respectful to your spouse, to your brothers, sisters, to your mom and dad, and hey, school's your job, do well, and then whatever you want to do outside of that, I'm here to support you and get right behind you.
Exactly.
So I didn't make it overly complicated for my kids. Although, listen, we'll see. They're 32 now and 30. We'll see what they have to say about it when they're on some couch with a therapist. They thought I did a good job or not. Hopefully I did.
Well, the fact that you even have a story behind it, you must have done something right.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not easy being my kid. I'm sure, there's like, I'm a popular guy in the neighborhood, and I'm sure that came with some, I'm sure it wasn't the best of, when people know who your dad is, and know, like, I was a little bit more of a popular figure. Probably wasn't easy, but we'll see. Hopefully I did a good job. I know my wife did a good job.
No doubt, no doubt. So, for today's people, for our society that we're living in today, what would be one of the biggest takeaways that you want people to get from your struggles, your life, the things that you've done?
I don't think it's complicated. I mean, be accountable is like the first thing. Like, you can't help somebody else if you're not helping yourself. So be accountable.
Mhm.
Live within your means and be accountable to your company, to your community, to your family. I think people underestimate that simple, basic strategy. And I think, we're here on this planet for 2 reasons: to help others and to
Mhm.
grow and get better. So, try to figure out a way to get a little better every day. and try to figure out you can help someone. You don't have to write a big check. You know, helping people is not just rich people. Helping people is for everybody. And I
Yes.
think what people don't realize that helping people is not a burden. It's actually an opportunity that leads you to share joy. And I think people miss out on the fact of helping other people and how much joy you get from it, and how
Mhm.
important it is for us all to be able to all be much more benevolent in trying to help our neighbors. That's what
Yes.
I think.
I agree with you. And I want to add something to that. I think that adding to what Mr. Steiner is saying, if you go back and understand and learn things about the bartering system was one of the most creative systems ever made to show people what it meant to be a community person, to help others without the burden of saying, hey, you owe me this, you owe me that. The bartering system was one of the greatest systems ever created. And I think that in today's society, if we would implement that, we would be a lot better off.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Mr. Brandon Steiner. This has been wonderful. This has been a great opportunity, and I truly thank you for this from the bottom of my heart. It's been awesome. I'm loving all the information that you have given today. I'm pretty sure my fans, your fans, will love this particular podcast. This has been great. By all means, please tell our people where they can actually reach you, where they can actually meet you on social media and things of that nature. Let's let them know.
Well, Collectible Exchange, if you go to collectibleexchange.com or starstock.com, that's where you can sell your collectibles or buy collectibles. It's a real marketplace. So if you have stuff you want to sell, whatever you can on there. Go to brandonsteiner.com if you're interested in having me speak. And then I'm a big LinkedIn, Facebook guy. By the way, on Collectible Exchange, if you want to get one of my books for free, you can do that, and you just pay for the shipping. So any one of my 3 books. Thanks for having me today. Appreciate you. Have a
Awesome.
great day. Thank you so much.
You as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Steiner, for joining YTP Entertainment. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
my friend. Be well.
Thank you as well.